How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Data here, and welcome back to the Pittsburgh Penguins franchise mode, episode number 12, headed into the 2026 postseason here in year number 3. In the last one, we capped off an incredible season with the Penguins where we won just the second President's Trophy in Penguins franchise history. Can you believe that? Just the second all-time with a 53-19-10 record to give us 116 points. We sat atop the NHL. It was a great season, a strong second half. We were pretty consistent throughout the entire season. We were led by Leon Draisaitl, who here in his first season was over point per game. Alex DeBrincat scored 43 goals. Sidney Crosby, our captain at 38 years of age, scored 69 points. Josh Morrissey had an incredible 64-point season. Moving down the list, Evgeny Malkin at 39 years of age scored 59 points. Phil the Thrill Kessel, we reacquired him at the deadline, a former Pittsburgh Penguin with 2 rings here in Pittsburgh. From the deadline, he scored 7 goals and 9 points in 21 games. He's been very good. Taylor Hall in his first season with us at 34, he scored 53. Letang 52. Brian Rust. Berkeley Cat in his rookie season scored 44. Ekblad in his first year with us scored 43 points. Going down the list, we also acquired veteran defenseman Ryan Suter. 41 years of age is Suter. Just a little bit more insurance on the third pair. Not there for the points. He had 1 assist and was a -2 over 21 games, but he's eating up about 13 minutes per night, and he gives us a bit more confidence on that third pair. He'll be looking for his first Stanley Cup in what is likely his last season. Down the list we go, some other presences in our lineup. We have Wheeler, we have Zucker kind of just sitting there as 13th, 14th forwards. Between the pipes, we were led by the reigning Vezina and Jennings Trophy winner Mackenzie Blackwood, who went 39, 14, and 6 on the year with 4 shutouts. But backing him up in his sophomore season, young Joel Blomqvist, 16, 6, and 4, a very good season from him at 24 years of age. They're both 84 overall, but Blackwood is our starter head into the postseason, but thankfully we don't need to be afraid if we do need to turn to Blomqvist. It's going to be an exciting postseason push here. I already know the title of this episode, March of the Penguins, because we need to march all the way back to the Stanley Cup final. We made it last year in 2025, losing in 6 games to the Edmonton Oilers. With the aging core of this team, yes, we're an older team, but we got even older at the deadline where we picked up guys like Kessel, Suter. And obviously, of course, those older pieces are not part of the long-term plan. We have very good young players like Catton, like Yeager, like Pickering, like Lind in the system who will be coming up as soon as next season. But for right now, whether you include our healthy scratches or not, our average age is about 34 and a half years old. This is a very old team compared to the other teams in the league. So hopefully some of that veteran experience will be helpful. But despite the age, there are many players who will be looking for their first Stanley Cup. DeBrincat, Hall. On defense, there's Ekblad, Morrissey, Suter, many players who are into their 30s, mid-30s, even here Suter, early 40s, who are yet to win a Stanley Cup, and they're surrounded by much talent that has won a cup. Guentzel, Draisaitl, Crosby, Malkin, Letang. So we have an interesting cast of characters for this 2026 postseason push. It was a great regular season, so not too many suggestions to be made by the assistant general managers, but we'll go ahead and turn to them as always before we get this party started. Starting off with Tommy, who said, great video. My only suggestion heading into the playoffs is make sure that Phil Kessel has number 81 back. He was number 8, but no, I have rectified that. Phil Kessel back to his old number 81, so you can go and dust off those Kessel jerseys, get them out of your closets, and you can make sure to don them for round number 1. Speaking of Phil Kessel, Wild Bronco left a comment, tampering controversy as the Penguins reacquire Phil Kessel while his sister Amanda sits in the Pens front office as special assistant to President of Hockey Ops Kyle Dubas. So maybe some nepotism going on, I don't know what, but Phil Kessel has delivered so far, and I'm happy to have him back in the lineup. Aside from the Kessel thoughts, there were a couple of other comments, most notably from Cheating Heel and from Legend, just talking a bit about the penalty kill. The one place, I guess, in which we were struggling was the penalty kill in the second half of last season, as we dropped from about 86% to 82%. So I went ahead and made some changes. It used to be Crosby and Rust on the first unit. We're going to go Draisaitl and Guentzel with the +2 on Unit 1. Crosby and Rust will move to Unit 2, and then the former third unit of Nate Smith and Pierre Engvall. getting a +2 can now be Nate Smith and Isaac Lundstrom, who's an 81, getting a +3. So hopefully that should help the penalty kill a little bit. As always, we'll make changes if they become necessary throughout the postseason. But aside from that, the power play is good to go. I'd love to get Phil Kessel on there, but it's already a couple of stacked units. Our power play percentage was among the best in the NHL, so I don't want to touch that. But we are ready to move into the postseason with these lines. In round number 1, we're facing the New York Islanders. We faced them in round number 2 of last year's postseason. That was a 5-game series in which we beat them on the way to the Stanley Cup final. So they will be wanting revenge absolutely in this first round of 2026. They are led by a first line of Bo Top 50 Horvat, Matthew Barzal, and Oliver Wahlstrom. Strong first line. Second line, Granlund, former Penguin, 78 overall 41-year-old Joe Pavelski and Anders Lee on the second line, Tatar Cizikas and Sami Blais on the third, then 77 overall Cam Atkinson with J.G. Pajot and Colin Blackwell on the fourth. The defense is pretty loaded. Alex Romanov and Noah Dobson on the first pair, Ryan Pulock and Adam Pelech on the second pair, so that's all 84s to 89s in the top 4. And then on the third pair, Robin Salo with Artem Zub, so very strong throughout their top 6. Their goaltending is 91 overall Ilya Sorokin, backed up by 82 overall former Penguin Adin Hill. Sorokin, incredible regular season numbers last year. Remember that. This year, not as much. But I remember we were able to break through him in the postseason. He came into round number 2 with good numbers. He ended up getting eliminated in round number 2 by us and left the postseason with a .901 save percentage and 3.39 goals against average. So as you know, in EA land, sometimes when it comes to goalie overalls, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So hopefully we can break through Sorokin again. But this is not going to be an easy first round matchup. 91 overall goalie, strong top 4D and just top 6 throughout, and a very good first line. We have to hope that we can stunt their second, third, fourth lines from scoring and just end up getting more goals than them, to put it simply enough. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's start getting into it. If history tells us anything, we're going to be getting back to the Stanley Cup final. In Penguins history, every time they've made it to the Stanley Cup final, they did it again the next year. 1991, 1992, 2008, 2009, 2016, 2017, now 2025 last year, and hopefully 2026 this year. That's why we got Draisaitl. He won his cup with Edmonton. He came to Pittsburgh. Let's see if he can get back-to-back Stanley Cups and lead us to one in what is likely the last year with this core. Who knows if Malkin, Crosby, Letang, all those guys, they could retire at any moment. This could be their last ride, and we have to say, as I mentioned, march all the way to the final. So starts here, Game 1, Round 1 against the New York Islanders in Pittsburgh. The President's Trophy winners hosting the Islanders. First period, 0-0 after 20 shots, 8-6 for the Islanders. Second period, 1-0 Penguins. Brian Rust opens up the scoring. He had a great first half of the year, was on pace for well over 50 points. He cooled down in the second half and ended with 46. He opens up the postseason scoring, and we're up 1-0 after 40 minutes. Shots 18-15 in our favor. We're doing very well to minimize not just the scoring, but the chances, of course, as now the shots become even, but Chris Letang extends our lead to 2. A huge goal around the halfway point of the third period as Anders Lee answers back about 4 minutes later and makes it a 2-1 game. The Islanders are now pulling away 28-21 in shots. Power play late for the Islanders, but Leon Draisaitl scores as that power play expires, and we'll come away with a Game 1 victory. Shots end 32-26 for the Islanders, but we win this one by a score of 3-1 the final. Mackenzie Blackwood makes 31 saves. Welcome back. He was absolutely, hands down, without question, the MVP last postseason. Huge Game 1 from him. Draisaitl and Letang scoring goals to get second and third star honors respectively. I didn't go into it, but I just want to highlight what happened last offseason in terms of the number, because Leon Draisaitl, although he was on the Edmonton Oilers, he had crazy numbers as he won his first Stanley Cup. Second only, of course, to Connor McDavid, but still in 21 games, in 20 games, he scored 34 points. 10 goals, 24 assists for 34 points in 20 games. McDavid had over 40, but Draisaitl has been here before. He knows what he's doing. And also, speaking about Mackenzie Blackwood, what he did last season, his numbers may not be like 930, 940, and 2 goals against average, but you know what? To have had 2 shutouts, a 921 save percentage, and 2.46 goals against average against Draisaitl and McDavid, who both had like 35 points or more in the postseason, Blackwood was incredible. So hopefully a good start from him. He makes 31 saves in game 1 of round 1. Hopefully that is a sign of more good things to come. So no need to stop there. Big game 1 victory. And as always, I didn't mention this, but I'm sure most of you know this by now. This video, I want to be going to the Stanley Cup final. I can guarantee you, even if we lose in round 1 or go all the way to the Cup final, game 7 overtime, the video will be at the very least an hour and a half long. I might even make it 2 hours to throw you off the scent, but this is going to be at least an hour and a half video. So if we do end up losing early, it's going to be a black screen for a little while. I'd appreciate you letting it run as it helps with the performance of the video, but I'd rather it not be spoiled and we react live in this March of the Penguins as we're on our way and on a mission to get back to the Stanley Cup final. First period of game number 2 at home, and it's 1-1 after 20. We killed off that early power play and Thomas Tatar scores later, but then Berkeley Catton in his second career postseason game scores his first career postseason goal. Shots tied at 11, score tied at 1 after 20. Second period, no scoring despite us having a power play there. We definitely pulled away in the shots. 15-5, the shots in our favor in the second period. We're up 26-16 through 40, but still tied at 1, but not for long, as Alex DeBrincat scores to open up the third period just 57 seconds in, and we're up 2-1, almost doubling the Islanders' shots at this point, but it's only a 2-1 game. Slim margin power play Penguins, that's killed off by the Islanders, as we are down to the final 5 minutes now, holding on to a 1-goal lead. Still close to doubling the Islanders' shots, under a minute to go! Late push, but Isaac Lundstrom will add the empty netter. Romanov adds a goal 30 or 20 seconds later. There you go. But we hang on for the victory. That empty netter ends up being the game winner. Shots end 40-22. Really, it was DeBrincat who gave us the winner. Lundstrom's insurance marker ended up being exactly just that, insurance. 3-2 the final. Sorokin definitely turned it on this game, though, as after losing in an effort in which the Islanders had more shots on net, this time he makes 37 saves, almost the same as Blackwood, but unfortunately, DeBrincat and Catton got through, and Lundstrom's empty netter to give us the 3-2 victory. So we win both games at home, both having scored only 3 goals, and one of them being an empty netter. So you know what? We scored 5 goals in 2 games against Ilya Sorokin. I think that's about what we can be expecting. So we need to make sure that we stay strong and only allow 0, 1, or 2 goals per night, as we just did in games 1 and 2. But now we're headed to Long Island at UBS Arena for game 3 of round 1, up 2-0 in this series, and we'd love to make it 3 here on the road after winning both at home. First period, 2-1 Penguins. Alex Romanov picking up where he left off and opening up the game with a goal just 38 seconds in, but then Alex DeBrincat picking up where he left off as well, and then with 5 minutes left in the period, Jake Gensel added his first of this postseason. Shots are 15-11 in our favor, up by 1 after 20. Second period, power play Islanders early, but then Sidney Crosby, the captain, scores shorthanded for his first goal this postseason, and after this period, we're up 4-1 as DeBrincat scores his 3rd goal in 2 games and his 2nd of the night. Shots are 30-20 in our favor, and we're up by 3 headed into this 3rd period. Incredible stuff. Taylor Hall, there's his first postseason goal as a Penguin. Adam Pelech answers right back 50 seconds later. We're still up on the power play now. Extended power play opportunity, and it's Gino Malkin scoring his first to make it 6-2. But then, once again, Colin Blackwell answers 40 seconds later. Blackwell and Pelech both answering Hall and Malkin respectively. But with just 3 minutes to go, we're up by 3, and that'll be all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. Shots end 43-29 in our favor, and we'll take this one by a score of 6-3. DeBrincat scores 2 goals and an assist. Leon Draisaitl with 3 assists, and Jake Gensel with a goal and an assist. That first line with a +5 coming through in a huge way, and we now have a 3-0 series lead, looking to sweep the Islanders in game number 4. I don't want to stop. Like, part of me is like, hey, this is going quick. Let's check out the lines. How's everybody doing? But we're doing well. We are cruising. I would love to get through a nice sweep and have a little bit of extra rest headed into round number 2. Can we please do that? Let's do it tonight. Game 4 on Long Island. Let's see if we can finish it off and get a little extra rest. Keep it up, boys. First period, 2-0 Pittsburgh. Jake Guentzel and Evgeny Malkin put us up 2-0 after 20, and the Islanders are scrambling with shots being 16-6 in our favor. Second period now, power play goal from Leon Draisaitl. Oh, hold on, though. Joe Pavelski scores his first, and then J.G. Pajot on the power play. It is now a 3-2 game, despite shots being almost close to triple in our favor. 30-12. It is only a 3-2 game headed into this third period. Make that 3-3 as Joe Pavelski, 58 seconds into the period, scores his second of the night. Power play Islanders killed off by the Penguins. We're tied. Hold on. Power play Pittsburgh now killed off as well. We're down to the final 10 minutes of this third period of game number 4. Shots 39-21. We're still close to doubling. 41-21. My goodness. Final minute of play. 2 seconds. We're headed to overtime. Shots and 42-22, but Sorokin buckled down, and now we're headed into overtime of game number 4. Overtime here in New York, 5v5 action. A goal for the Penguins puts them through to round number 2, but a goal for the Islanders gives them life, headed back to game 5 in Pittsburgh. Guentzel has room! Sorokin with a good shoulder save. Defensive zone draw for the second line. Crosby at the dot. The first line still out for the Islanders after close to a minute and a half. Crosby fighting with Barzal. Lee comes in, but Crosby comes away with it. Ekblad gets it up to Taylor Hall. Hall one-on-one against Adam Pelech or Ryan Pulock. He gets it to Rust, but Sorokin slides across to make that save. Pulock over to Pavelski. Big 41-year-old Joe Pavelski. Granlund to Lee. Nice blocker save from Blackwood, who hasn't been tested much yet in this overtime. Here comes Phil the Thrill Kessel over to Berkeley Catton. Berkeley on net. Great snipe, but just over the glove side. Kessel down low with it again. Over to Zadorov, who can't get it through Anders Lee. So hold on, regaining possession. Over to Draisaitl in front. Oh, the Brinket would have had on the doorstep. Now Guentzel with it in the corner again. Skating in. Off the boards, Draisaitl. The Brinket behind the net with it. Off the boards into the point. It's Morrissey. Draisaitl in front. Guentzel doesn't take the shot, though. Shoot, boys. Come on. Take the shot. Catton up to the middle. It's Gino Malkin. Malkin skating in. Tries to put it in the middle for Catton. He gets it. Kessel on the doorstep. Big kick save from Sorokin, point blank. Ryan Suter, there you go. Up to Berkeley Catton. Here comes the playmaker. Catton will keep it himself. Give it to Kessel. Glove side. And it's in the crease, but Sorokin hangs on to it. Great snipe opportunity there by Kessel. Against like 4 or 5 Islanders. Okay, power play. I'm not sure what happened there. Lundstrom was skating into a wall of Islanders. Pavelski getting 2 for slashing. Did not see that one. I would consider a timeout, maybe one more face-off. Pavelski furious in the penalty box. Let's see it over here. Okay, we'll take it. Questionable, but all right. Down low to Draisaitl, cycling to Letang. To the point is Morrissey, who leaves the zone for some unknown reason, and we get 0 shots on that, like 30 seconds of pressure. But here comes Malkin, puts it off his skates. Beautiful. Just love to watch the AI. Draisaitl down low to Crosby. Now here's Draisaitl. Come on, take the shot. Draisaitl finally takes a shot, and it's as he's going backwards on like one knee, and Sorokin will hang on. Not sure what happened here. Let's see. Slashing, of course. It's always a slash, of course. Crosby 2 for slashing. And it was while he was trying to lift Horvat's stick there. Yeah, beautiful. Well, Draisaitl wins the defensive zone draw. Wahlstrom gets it now. Across to Pavelski. Tatar, they can take shots there. Oh, Morrissey with a huge interception there. Horvat to Wahlstrom. Skating in, glove save Blackwood, and he'll hang on to that. Nate Smith working hard. Hold on, power play. What's going on here? It's going to be 4-on-4. Yeah, Granlund's getting 2 for something. 2 for slashing, of course. Always slashing. AKA trying to lift a stick and missing. These slashing penalties. All right, well, that kills the power play. That's good. On Rust. All right, so we're going to have 4-on-4 for the next minute 13, I believe I saw. Yeah, and then we'll have a short power play. Comes Crosby 2-on-2 with Draisaitl. Come on now, Crosby and Draisaitl. Doesn't get better than that. And he can't get through Salo. But now Crosby, ooh, little one-timer from a short angle. That's Ekblad. Malkin, Crosby! One-timer swallowed up by Sorokin. And we're still all tied up with 7:07 to go. Nice, get the second line out. Nate Smith into and then he trips him. But can it be that you're always skating? Like, what's with the defense? Why are teams always in a box of 4 players? 2 for tripping to Nate Smith as he skated into a wall of 4 players and then tried to poke check, and Barzal fell. Big Bo. Over to Dobson with a lane. Nice save by Blackwood as he stuck with it and will hang on. Letang, a little 3-on-1 for the Islanders. Lee blocked Pajot in front. He doesn't want to shoot. Just put me out of my misery. It's been 15 real minutes. Oh my goodness, Pajot on the doorstep to keep the Islanders alive, and he just waits so long that by the time he takes the shot, Blackwood has readjusted. Tatar, 2-on-2, he's being hounded. In front, Dobson! Off the post! No, please just finish it. Oh my goodness, Dobson with a great chance there. Gensel, Draisaitl had a lane! Oh my. And then, ooh, okay, glove save by Sorokin. I don't know if that counts as a shot. At the end of this first overtime with real 20-minute periods, I've been sitting here probably for about 25 minutes now. The shots are, drumroll please, 64-36. I am just begging for a goal. This has been one of the most painful AI games I've ever had the displeasure of witnessing. Double overtime in Game 4 here in New York. DeBrincat in front, Gensel on the doorstep is turned aside, stoned by Sorokin. Here is Lundstrom now, gets it up to Nate Smith, little toe drag into a wall of 3 players. Ty Smith picks it up now. Here's Ty Smith on net, scores! Ty Smith, it's over! The misery has come to an end, and the Penguins win in double overtime to book their ticket to round number 2. Ty Smith, the hero, one of the most unlikeliest of sources, and we complete the sweep of the Islanders here on Long Island in double overtime. Thank goodness. Lee and Crosby shaking hands here in 2026. Horvat, Cizikas, Tatar, legends out here. There's Blackwood and Sorokin, who Sorokin, poor guy, got done dirty by his team. In the end, Sorokin makes how many saves? 63 saves on 67 shots. Draisaitl third star with a goal and an assist. Shots ended 67-38. Pavelski's second star having scored 2 goals. Who's first star in this one? Gotta be Sorokin. 940 save percentage, making 63 saves in a losing effort. Oh my goodness, but what's important is that we're through. I don't know how much of that, like 25, 26 minutes of overtime made it to the actual episode, but just know it was brutal for me. All right, heading into the next round now, we're getting a lot of rest. Down in the AHL, things aren't looking too good. Okay, we're going to get a nice bit of rest here in the NHL. Just about a week of rest, and now we're ready to head into round number 2, where we will be facing the New York Rangers. Oh my goodness. The second best team in the NHL. The 2 best teams in the league going at it here in round number 2. The 2 53-win teams. We had 1 less loss and 1 more overtime loss, giving us that 1 extra point. Oh my. Actually, the Panthers are also out here with 53 wins. But the 2 best teams in the NHL. Wow. Almost the same amounts of goals for and goals against as well. Our power play was a bit better. Their penalty kill was better. Whoa. This is going to be a crazy matchup. But before we get into it, let's check out how we did in this first round, how the playoff tree looks as well. Through round number 1, we took down the Islanders in 4. Rangers took down the Blue Jackets in 5. The other 53-win team, the Panthers, lost to the Maple Leafs, and the Lightning beat the Canadiens. So Penguins, Rangers, Lightning, Leafs in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Over in the West, it's Minnesota versus Colorado and Vegas versus Edmonton. So in that first round, Leon Draisaitl had 7 points through 4 games. Very well done. DeBrincat, 3 goals and 5 points in 4 games. Malkin, Gensel, Letang, Morrissey, and Ekblad all with 3 points in 4 games. Lundstrom, Hall, Crosby, Rust, Engvall all with 2. Ty Smith with the game winner. But Smith, Catton, Zadorov, Suter, and Kessel all with 1 point. Only Nate Smith going pointless, and he was only averaging .841 per night. So, you know what? We can deal with that. And, of course, Mackenzie Blackwood, 4-0, with a .925 save percentage and 2.06 goals against average through that first round. Now, let's see. Actually, I'm curious about the Islanders. I just want to see how Sorokin looked for them, as Pavelski likely had his career ended there. .914 save percentage, despite 3.44 goals against average. So let's just see the Rangers stats before we look at their lineup. I'm just curious to see who's leading. Ooh, Brennan Othman has 8 points in 5 games. That's an 80 overall. What? Oh, and it is Shesterkin who has pretty good numbers, but Wedgwood even playing as well. So, all right, let's check out their lineup. So yeah, definitely a very strong team on paper here. As we see, the Rangers' top line is Panarin, Zibanejad, and Kreider. A veteran line there as well. These two teams, the Penguins and the Rangers, have been facing each other for a long time. So Crosby, Malkin, Letang versus Kreider, Zibanejad, Panarin. This has been happening for years and years and years now. Panarin is 34, a 94 overall with 5 points in 5 games. Zibanejad, 3 goals and 4 points at the age of 33. And Kreider at the age of 35 also has a goal and 4 points as an 84 overall. In the second line, we see Kakko, Trocheck, and Alexis Lafreniere, who's an 88 overall with 1 goal through 5 games. Brennan Othmann leading the team in points with 6 goals and 8 points in 5 games on the third line with Barbashev and Josh Anderson. Fourth line is Korczak, Heidel, and Barclay Goodrow. Defense, we see K'Andre Miller with Adam Fox, 94 overall. That caught me off guard. 5 points in 5 games for the 94 overall Adam Fox. Colin Miller and Ryan Lindgren on the second pair, and Matthew Robertson with Braden Schneider on the third pair. Pretty solid defensive core, especially that top pair. And it's 91 overall. Igor Shesterkin starting with those numbers that we saw previously, backed up by Scott Wedgwood, who, when called upon, was very good in his 1 appearance. Healthy scratches, Zach Jones, David Ferentz, and is it Cully? I keep forgetting. I know he's a rookie now in the real world, but he is still in their lineup as a healthy scratch there in 2026. All right, so it's a good lineup on paper. I would say it's more the defense, Igor Shesterkin, and even the surprise of Brennan Othmann that has been carrying the Rangers. If they want to make it through the Penguins to the Eastern Conference Final, they're going to need to see more scoring from their top 6, especially that second line, Lafreniere, Kakko, and Trocheck. So we're going to try and keep doing what we've been doing. We had a whole week plus to rest up after sweeping the Islanders, and now we move into round number 2. Actually, hey, we won in the AHL. Big comeback against the Hershey Bears. Callan Lynn, 7 points in 7 games. Okay, great to see. Now we're playing the Islanders farm team. While we play the Rangers here in the NHL, it's a crazy matchup here in round number 2. The top 2 teams in the NHL going at it. This could be the matchup that determines who wins the Stanley Cup, in my opinion. So let's hit it. Game 1, round 2 in Pittsburgh. First period, the Rangers come out firing on all cylinders as Barclay Goodrow on the 4th line scores 33 seconds in, and Panarin less than 3 minutes later makes it 2-0 Penguins, but then the captain, Sidney Crosby, gets us back into it, and the second line once more, Brian Rust ties it up at 2. Shots tied at 11, score tied at 2 after 20. Second period, 3-2 Rangers, Chris Kreider. Shots are 24-23 for New York, and we are down by 1 after 20. This is going to be a tough round, I'm telling you. Power play, Penguins, and Aaron Ekblad on the power play will tie it up at 3 as we're close to the halfway point here in this third period of game number 1. And Alex DeBrincat, with his first of the series, makes it 4-3 with his 4th goal in 5 games this postseason. 5 minutes to go, and Sidney Crosby with his second of the night from down 3-2 to up 5-3. There's that Pittsburgh Penguins team we know. The march of the Penguins goes on. 38-32, the shots end in our favor. 3 third-period goals, and we come away with the Game 1 victory. Crosby first star with 2 goals and an assist. The captain, Brian Rust, a goal and 2 assists, and Alex DeBrincat on that top line scores a goal and an assist. That is a huge victory from down 3-2 to taking it 5-3. We need every single game, and if we don't need to drop Game 1, we do not want to drop Game 1. So things are going well. I'm going to keep on rolling here. That is now 5 consecutive wins for us in this postseason, but that was a tight victory. We got 3 goals in the third period. How about let's not allow 2 in the first? That's our goal this game, gentlemen. Let's allow 1 or less. You know what? Not even. No goals against in the first period. Let's come out and be rock solid. First period, 2-1. All right. Of course, we allow a goal 54 seconds in, but then we're solid from there. Power play goal from Malkin and a power play goal from Letang. Very good to see the special teams doing so well. Shots are 11-9 in our favor, and we're up by 1. Second period, Zibanejad scores early again. Every period almost in this series so far has been an early goal from the Rangers. Power play, Penguins is killed off. Power play again. Extended. And killed off once more. Interesting. After scoring 2 power play goals and ends 3-3. Trocheck scores his second. Then Ty Smith shorthanded to tie it up at 3. All right, so all three of our goals have come on the special teams here. Ty Smith, his first goal came to win the series against the Islanders. Now his second goal comes shorthanded to tie this game up at 3 headed into the third. Zibanejad scores, Trocheck gets his second. Shots are 27-18 in our favor headed into this third period. Power play Penguins early on, killed off by the Rangers. Power play Rangers now, killed off by the Penguins, back and forth. Halfway through this period, shots are pretty tight and we're still tied at 3. Power play Rangers now, killed off by the Penguins. Very well done. Final 3 minutes in this one. Will we see overtime with a minute to go? Yes, we will. Shots end 34-33 in our favor, and we're tied at 3 headed into overtime. Overtime here in Pittsburgh for Game 2 of Round 2. A goal for the Penguins puts them up 2-0 in this series, headed to New York. But a goal for the Rangers will tie the series up at 1, headed back home, and make it a best of 5. Jake Guentzel slipping by, finding room in the corner. Guentzel skates around the entire net. One-timer! Oh! Great play to get it to DeBrincat, but sliding across the crease is Shesterkin to make that big save. Now here's DeBrincat. Okay. Guentzel again. Hold on. He gets slashed. Power play coming up. There you go. Goodrow's going to get 2 for slashing, I believe, here. Yeah, even look at that. There's a sign for him there, right? That's something that have a sign next to him said Goodrow. Even in Pittsburgh, they were ready for him in the box, as that was a slash on Draisaitl. And now the first unit is out. Malkin, Crosby, Draisaitl, Letang, and Morrissey for a nice 2-minute opportunity here. We're 2 for 7 tonight with 5 shots. Off the draw, here's Letang. Morrissey, Letang. Malkin with a lane. Weird backhand, stopped by Shesterkin. Malkin now stops up. Crosby! Oh, that was a nice lane blocker side. But, Shesterkin's blocker came up. There's a nice little spot there. Morrissey, Crosby in front. He's wide open. Sid! Draisaitl's wide open. Over to Guentzel. Come on now. DeBrincat! Stopped by Shesterkin. Glove save. And that was pretty in tight. I'll give it to him. Guentzel up to Catton. Emptying. Hold on. Power play coming up. There we go. Okay, good. So a nice waste of a power play. And now we'll get a chance to do it again. 2 minutes for charging to Ivan Barbashev. Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and take a timeout here. We'll have a 1-second 5-on-3. Look, there's a poster again with Barbashev's name on it. Right next to the box. Same guy. He has a poster for every Rangers player, I guess. So we'll call a timeout here to get back to full energy. And we'll have a 5-on-3 for 1 second, and then another 5-on-4. With DeBrincat. Let's go. Oh my goodness. His legs just snapped in half like a Barbie. Oh my goodness. That's ridiculous. That's a full-on split. DeBrincat taking Bean Knuff to another level there. My goodness. Here's Goodrow, and he'll dump that down. Why would we get any sustained offense on a power play? On like a 4-minute power play, right? Ryan Suter, Pierre Engvall. There you go, Pierre. On net, big boy! Kick save from Shesterkin. And hold on, power. Okay, great. Power play coming up. Not sure what happened there. Rangers taking a penalty. I'd almost just prefer to stay at even strength, but I guess we'll take the power play. 2 for slashing, a.k.a. 2 for trying to lift the stick and missing. Josh Anderson's off to the box. There you go, a little slash on Morrissey. We'll take it. Another power play for us. What, we're 2 for 9, I think? 2 for 9 with like 10 or 11 shots. Crazy. Berkeley Catton with 10 seconds going to power play. To Morrissey! Nope, doesn't get through the 3 bodies in front of him. Now here's Ekblad! Glove save Shesterkin. Nate Smith wins that draw to Ty Smith! Woo-hoo! Glove save Shesterkin. Ty Smith's hungry. Draisaitl, spinorama around nobody. DeBrincat's in red, scores! Leon Draisaitl! Oh, the misery has come to an end. The Penguins win in overtime at home. Between last game and this game, I've been sitting through probably close to 40 minutes of broken AI. You know what that does to a person? Come on now. Oh, thank you, Leon Draisaitl. DeBrincat takes the shot, and Draisaitl bats in the rebound to cap off an ugly, ugly overtime. And hey, to put us up 2-0 in this series, headed back to New York. Shots end 59-45. That just tells you how terrible these shots are and how unchallenged the goalies are in general. Oh man, that was ugly. I'm going to stop ranting now, but those were some ugly, ugly overtimes. Now we're headed back to New York. We took down the Islanders twice in New York. Now we're headed back to the state of New York again, but this time to Madison Square Garden for game number 3. Up 2-0 in this series and riding a 6-game winning streak in this postseason. I'm fired up and ready to go. My energy was really low after having to sit through like 35, 40 minutes of those overtimes. I went and took a walk. Now I'm back for more. Having to sit through that much AI junk has to be some sort of form of cruel, unusual punishment. There's definitely something in the Geneva Accords against that, so I don't know why I had to do that. But here we go in New York at Madison Square Garden, and Jake Guentzel on the first shot of the night puts us up 1-0 here in game number 3. And Leon Draisaitl, 2 goals on 3 shots past Shesterkin, and we are up 2-0 early in this third game. First period ends 3-0 with Guentzel adding his second of the period. Woohoo! 3 goals on 9 shots despite being outshot 13-9. Let's go, the March of the Penguins. Second period, 4-1, goal apiece. Hextall scores short-handed, and then we score on the power play like a minute and a half later. Okay, balances out. Shots are 25-17 for the Rangers, but we're up by 3 and just 20 minutes away from having a 3-0 series hold, and Nikita Zadorov makes it 5-1 as he gets his first goal in a long time. The defensive defenseman on that second pair adding in a little bit. Trocheck cuts our lead to 3 as he gets his the second Rangers goal of this game. Shots are 34-24 with about 6 minutes to go, and we're up by 3. Will that be enough? Late power play from the Rangers killed off, and that will be enough. Shots end 36-28, but we win game number 3 by a score of 5-2. Guentzel, 2 goals and an assist with those 2 goals in the first period. Draisaitl, a goal and 3 assists leading that first line, and Mackenzie Blackwood makes 34 saves to give us a 7th consecutive victory through these first 2 rounds. Well done, Draisaitl, 15 points in 7 games. We are cruising here against the second best team in the NHL. The 2 of the 3 teams that won 53 games going at it. And, don't want to count the chickens too quickly here, but we are up 3-0 in this series and looking to sweep the New York Rangers out of round number 2. The team with 34 and a half years of age as its average age of its players here at Madison Square Garden to call it a series and advance to the Eastern Conference Final. First period, 2-0 Penguins! It's Crosby and Letang! Crosby's on even strength, and then Chris Letang shorthanded. Oh my goodness, we are up 2-0 with 40 minutes to go. Huge first period, just like in game number 3. Second period ends 2-0, it remains. Shots are 25-23 for the Rangers, but we are shutting them down. Their opportunities are not getting through. We are being clinical in finishing on our opportunities, and we are now into the final 20 minutes with a 2-goal lead. The worst lead in hockey, but hold on, no longer, as it's now a 3-goal lead. Sidney Crosby gets his second of the night. 5-on-3 power play, 5-on-4 extended. Huge power play opportunity. That's a really big kill from the Rangers. Now on a power play of their own, and we kill that one off to try and hose down their momentum. With just 3 minutes to go, will it be enough? Ladies and gentlemen, a Game 4 shutout from Mackenzie Blackwood, and we are through to the Eastern Conference Final after sweeping the mighty New York Rangers. Shots end 35-30 in our favor, and we win Game 4 by a score of 3-0. Crosby, 2 goals and an assist. The captain leads by example. Mackenzie Blackwood gets a 30-save shutout, and Chris Letang with a goal and an assist. Wow. We sweep through rounds number 1 and 2, and we are off to the Eastern Conference Final to face either the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Tampa Bay Lightning. Oh my goodness. Let's go ahead and look at the numbers now, actually. We're on a high after that one. Incredible efforts from everybody. Draisaitl, 15 points in 8 games. DeBrincat and Guentzel both with 9. Crosby and Letang both with 8. 5 players who are point per game plus through the first 2 rounds. Rust with 6. Malkin with 4 goals and 5 points. Ekblad 5. But Malkin, by the way, the third line there, -4. Okay. Taylor Hall's got 4, Morrissey 3, Engvall 3, Smith with 2 goals, Looms from a couple points, same for Zadorov and Catton, same for Ryan Suter even. Phil Kessel, come on Phil, only 1 assist and a -5. Yeah, that third line, they're the only negatives. Smith, even the fourth line, a plus. Yeah, we got to look at that. Goaltending, Blackwood 8-0, 1 shutout, .935 save percentage, 1.97 goals against. This man is incredible. Well, that's the reward we get for having to to suffer through all the AI overtimes. But ladies and gentlemen, we're through the Eastern Conference Final. Let's rest up once again. Maybe that's why we were able to be so strong here against such a good Rangers team. Now let's get that rest once more and prepare for the Eastern Conference Final. So when we took over this Penguins team, they had not been beyond the second round since they won the Stanley Cup back in 2017. Now in back-to-back years, 2025 and 2026, we have reached at least the Eastern Conference Final, round number 3. And this year, in the Eastern Conference Final, we will be facing the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning, a very strong team. They went 49, 28, and 5. A lot more losses, but only 4 less wins. Let's go ahead and check this out. Plus, Edmonton got eliminated. Minnesota versus Vegas in the Western Conference Final. So no rematch against Edmonton as the Oilers lose in 6 and the Avalanche lose in 7. So looking at the Lightning's path, they took down the Canadiens in 6. The Canadiens were a very strong team as well. And then they took down the Maple Leafs in 5. The Maple Leafs that had beaten the 53-win Panthers. So Penguins and Lightning in Eastern Conference Final in back-to-back years. I forgot to mention that. We also faced Tampa last year on our way to the Stanley Cup. We took down the Lightning in 7 games. I believe that included a Game 7 shutout by Mackenzie Blackwood. So after having beaten the Lightning in the 2025 Eastern Conference Final in 7, we are now back to face them again in 2026. The making of an incredible rematch here. We're not going to see the Oilers again, but we will see the Lightning again. Here we are. Their first line is still Hagel, Point, and Kucherov. Second line, Chiarelli, Stamkos, and Killorn. Evgeny Svechnikov, Nick Paul, and David Kampf on the third line. Sokolov, Soderblom, and Grunstrom on the fourth line. Defensively, they have Victor Hedman, 93 overall, with Eric Chernak, 85. Second pair, Jack Thompson with 89 overall, Mikhail Sergachev. On the third pair, we got Dennis, the chosen one, Chalowski, with Declan Charlie. So definitely some weakness there with those 3 guys in the high 70s, but those big 3, Hedman, Sergachev, and Chernak, certainly able to hold their own. Between the pipes, of course, 93 overall, Andrei Vasilevsky, currently riding a 922 save percentage. He had 42 wins on the year, but only an 894 save percentage and 3.14 goals against average. That's crazy for such a high overall goalie. But he's 7-1-2 here in the postseason, 922 save percentage. As you can see historically, even in the sim, actually only these last 2 years in the sim. But as you can see, yeah, good numbers. And he's backed up by Capo Kakinen. Scratches, they have Jeannot, Fortier, and Hutsko. What kind of numbers are these guys putting up? Hagel, 3 goals, 11 assists, 14 points. You got Point, 2 goals and 18 points in 11 games for Point. 11 goals and 17 points for Kucherov through 11 games. Kucherov is absolutely the guy who we're going to have to shut down. Killorn has 9 points. Stamkos has 7 points. Chiarelli, 10 points. Yeah, definitely that top 6. All right. Now, I don't want to think about instances of Kucherov tearing that third line apart. I don't like the -5 through only 8 games. -5s, -4s, Catton, Malkin, and Kessel. I'm not a fan of that. Kessel has 1 assist. Malkin's looking good. 4 goals, 5 points. Catton, goal and an assist. I wouldn't mind keeping Catton on the power play for his playmaking ability, but then bringing up Lundstrom or Engvall for their two-way ability, or maybe even scratching somebody and bringing in a Jason Zucker or a Blake Wheeler, who, as you can see, of course, have better defense. Zucker, 86 awareness, 3.5 stars, and Blake Wheeler, 4 stars, 88 awareness. Now, why haven't these guys been playing from the get-go? It's more of a storyline thing than anything, but they are 84 and 82 overall respectively here between Wheeler and Zucker. So maybe we think about bringing Blake Wheeler into this lineup. He played Tampa last season. It would definitely make that line a lot older, as Malkin's 39, Kessel's 38, and Wheeler's also 39. So, you know, would it help the speed? I don't think so, but I do think we need some better defense on that line. Lundstrom, goal and assist, +4. Engvall, 3 assists, +4 as well. And 79 faceoffs. Maybe Smith comes out, Lundstrom goes center, Catton comes down, and Nate Smith is replaced by Blake Wheeler. Let's try that out. I definitely don't want to touch the defense or the top 6, but this third line is the line that's struggling. So maybe, just maybe, a little addition like that will put us over the top. Again, this team has gotten us 8 consecutive wins. We swept through the Rangers, but we did so without this line scoring very much and with them being negatives. So worst case, we go back to what we had, but let's try Blake Wheeler in there. Defense continues to be what it has been, absolutely, and of course Mackenzie Blackwood is starting with his .935 save percentage. Ladies and gentlemen, after taking them down in 7 in 2025, we face them again in 2026. The Eastern Conference Final gets underway here at PPG Paints Arena. Game 1, Round 3, Penguins Lightning rematch. Let's hit it. Oh boy. First period, 2-0 Penguins early. How about that for a statement opening it up? Sidney Crosby, our captain, scores first, and then Brian Rust on that second line. That's what we like to see. Shots are 9-8 for the Lightning, but we break through Vasilevsky twice. Last year, we broke through Sorokin and then Vasilevsky. This year, we broke through Sorokin. Let's break through Vasilevsky again. 2-0 after 20. Second period, no score. Actually, DeBrincat, excuse me, Alex DeBrincat extends our lead to 3. Shots are 22-17 for the Penguins, and we hold a 3-0 lead headed into this third period of game number 1 at home in front of the fans. They are eating this up. We're definitely pulling away in the shots, and there's DeBrincat's second to make it 4-0. That'll be all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Ekblad makes it a 5-0 game, and the floodgates are open on Andrei Vasilevsky. We got to take down his confidence. I know he's going to definitely bounce back. That's usually what these guys do, but we got to get as much as we can, and there's Letang adding a 6th. 6-0 the final. Back-to-back shutouts for Mackenzie Blackwood. Shots end 33-25, and we win 6-0 against the Lightning. Blackwood 25 saves, closing down Nikita Kucherov and that first line. Alex DeBrincat scores twice. Crosby a goal and an assist, and we win game 1 in a huge statement manner. Wow. 6-0 in game 1 at home. That is incredible. Whew, man, gotta calm down after that one. Down in the AHL, if you're curious, we're also in the conference final there. 1-1 against the Cleveland Monsters. 14 points in 15 games for Jaeger. Really bounced back after being close to being eliminated in round number 1. So well done to the baby Penguins down there. Okay, game number 2 at home after a huge 6-0 victory. We are on a 9-game winning streak here in the postseason, looking to make it 10 and to continue our unbeaten streak at home especially. To take a 2-0 lead, headed back to Tampa, that would be huge. First period, round 3, game 2, 1-0 Penguins. Taylor Hall, he's alive. Shots are 13-7 after 20, and Taylor Hall has put us ahead with an early goal in the first 3.5 minutes. Second period, 3-1 Penguins. Gensel makes it a 2-0 game. Braden Point scores the first goal of this series for the Lightning after they'd been shut out for 4 periods and 4 minutes and 20 seconds. But then Draisaitl restores the 2-goal lead. We are doubling Lightning shots 28-14, and we are up 3-1. A 2-goal lead. As I said, worst one in hockey. Let's make it a 4-1 lead. That's what I want to see. We are still doubling their shots, but the Lightning are coming back a little bit here. Yeah, 33-20. Halfway through this third period, holding on to our 3-1 lead thanks to Draisaitl adding that insurance marker. Make it 4-1. Berkeley Catton down on that 4th line. Okay. And you know what? I forgot to check Blake Wheeler's numbers after game 1. But no matter, we take both games at home, and that is a 10-game winning streak for your Pittsburgh Penguins. Shots end 42-28, and we win 4-1 the final. Mackenzie Blackwood, 27 saves, and Draisaitl a goal and an assist. Gensel a goal. The Mac Dog is hungry. Oh my goodness. 4-1 the final, and we win both games at home to take a 2-0 series lead back to Amalie Arena. Gotta check out the numbers for Blake Wheeler here. Just curious. I don't think he's done too much. We haven't seen goals from that third line. Malkin and Kessel still haven't done anything yet in this third round. Wheeler, let's see, 2 games, 1 assist, and a +1. Okay, not too shabby. There you go, Blake. You want to get your name on that cup? Come on now. And Berkeley Catton scored down on that 4th line. There you go. We'll take it. We'll take it. And even Engvald, 4 assists and a +6 now. Okay. Good. Kessel still -4. I just want to see the save percentage. Blackwood at a .943 save percentage through 10 games. As of now, he has to be our MVP. So here we are now in Tampa, up 2-0 in this series. The last time the Lightning fans saw us in the postseason, I forgot who had home ice advantage, but last time they at least heard about us. We had shut them out in Game 7 to go to the Stanley Cup final, to deny them from another final in all of their rich history with Kucherov, Stamkos, Hedman. Now they're trying to fight their way back, down 2-0, and hoping the home fans will get them back into it. We've got to keep them out. Kucherov, I'm going to jinx it. Kucherov yet to score. Vasilevsky allowing way more than he would like. Let's keep this going and don't slow down, even though we are now the away team. Round 3, Game 3. First period ends 1-1. Gensel scores on the power play, and there he is, Nikita Kucherov, 12 goals in what now? 14 games? As he gets his first of the series. Shots 11-10 in our favor through 20. Second period, ooh, early goal there. There's Phil Kessel! Phil the Thrill scoring his first goal of the postseason, and his first postseason goal with the Penguins in years. Alex Killorn comes right back to tie it up a couple minutes later, but then Alex DeBrincat a minute later restores the lead, and we hung on to it for the last 15 minutes of the second period. Shots are 26-20 in our favor, and we are up by a slim 1-goal margin. 3-2 Penguins after 40. Third period action. The Lightning want to get back into it, but Draisaitl extends our lead to 2. Another win puts us up 3-0 in this series, and the Lightning would have a hard time getting back. Soderblom gets the Lightning back within this game. Not back in this series just yet, but back in the game. Power play Lightning. Extended opportunity for Tampa. Very extended. Of course, Kucherov's going to score, and then Kucherov scores again to make it a hat trick. Just even strength 30 seconds later. We're down by 1 with 2 to go, and then Chiarelli's going to add another insurance. But hold on. Brian Rust, minute 44 left in this one, but Compad's an empty netter. Oh man, 7-5, what a game. 4 unanswered from the Lightning is what ended us there, and actually it was the penalties. Let's see this. Elbowing major, of course, the guy I bring into the lineup. Blake Wheeler gets an elbowing major, and that costs us the game. Come on, Blake. Shots end 36-33, and the Lightning win 7-5. 5 third-period goals. Hat-trick from Kucherov after I call him out, of course. I knew that would happen. But all right, the Lightning have life, and it is a 2-1 series now, as that is easily the most goals that we have allowed in a very long time. Headed into Game 4. I don't know if I want Wheeler in there. He really cost us really badly. What's going on here? Let's see. Come on, you can do it. Wheeler, 2 assists. He got another assist, though. 2 assists. No, even plus minus, but 7 penalty minutes. That really hurt us. Really, really hurt us. He assisted on Kessel's goal. I want a clean game. You know what? I want a clean game. Give me a 0 penalty minute game, Blake Wheeler, and I will keep you in the lineup. Take more penalties, and I'm pulling you out for Jason Zucker. All right, Amalie Arena, Game 4, up 2-1 in the series. Let's make it 3-1 and have an opportunity to end it. Our winning streak as well, cut at 10 games. But all right, we're 10-1 in our last 11. Let's get back on the horse and win this one so that we can try to end it in Game 5 back in Pittsburgh. Round 3, Game 4, with the Lightning having shown some semblance of life. First period, 1-1 after 20. Crosby scores, and then Hagel answers, like 40 seconds later? Shots 11-8 for the Lightning, and we're tied at 1 after 20. Crosby, the captain, getting it done in what could be his last postseason. Second period, 2-1, Nick Paul gives the Lightning a lead. I think we're down headed into the third for the first time this postseason. Shots 20-19 for the Penguins, but we're down by 1. Let's get back into it. Let's look at that top 6. I'm looking at the defense. 5-on-3 power play! Oh my goodness, what an opportunity killed off by the Lightning, and then Kucherov adds a power play goal. Oh, and now we're down by 2 with 10 minutes to go, and the Lightning are very much pulling away in the shots category. But hold on, there's Gino Malkin to bring us back within 1 with 6 minutes to go. We are still in this game. Let's go. Don't stop pushing now. Final minute, 20 seconds. Who took that penalty? So help me. Gensel tripping minor. Draisaitl holding. Zadorov high sticking. 3-2, Kucherov turning it on, and of course Vasilevsky having a big performance there. And we are now tied at 2. Okay. Out until May 29th. Crosby has an injury that could keep him out for this series. No, today's the 25th. At least a couple games. Oh, man. Crosby's out for a couple games now. Oh, goodness. Malkin's going to have to slot up as a centerman. Lundstrom's going to come up to the third line. And Engvall has 70 faceoffs. He can go center. I'm going to put Catton on the right, and Jason Zucker will come in on the left. Yeah, I think this will be our lineup. I know Nate Smith could come back in at center, but I want to try Jason Zucker out here as well. Good defense. We need that more than ever if we're not going to be scoring as much with Crosby out. That's a lot of power right there, a lot of scoring power. That's 7 goals and 5 assists. 12 points in 12 games, and he's gone, at least for the next couple of games here. So I'll fix up the lineup. Malkin's going to have to play a little extra out there, and fingers crossed that we can push through these last few games and get a fully healthy Crosby into the Stanley Cup final. But it is now a best of 3 with this series tied at 2. I'm going to make some alterations to the lineup, and then we'll keep on rolling. All right, the lines are set. It definitely takes quite an effort because we don't want to just say, okay, replace Sonali's back in a couple of games. This is really a time where every game counts. All right, so we'll sim to our next game here. Crosby is going to be healthy on the... Yeah, maybe even by next game. I'm not sure if it'll be fully healed by that day. Yeah, it could only be one game that we're without him. It may only be one game, so that's the good news. Now, bad news is we have, after winning 10 in a row, have now lost back-to-back. This series is tied at 2, and it has now become a best of 3. Headed into game number 5 with 3 games remaining in this series. We have 2 at home, 1 on the road. We cannot afford to drop this game number 5 at home. We are yet to lose this postseason at home. Let's keep that momentum. Let's get back in the driver's seat here. Even though the captain is not out there, we're going to be led by our veterans, and we're going to go out there and show this team what we showed them in games 1 and 2. First period, 2-0 Penguins. Phil the Thrill Kessel and Aaron Ekblad to put us up 2-0. 2 older players, and especially Phil Kessel, who's been here and done it before. Shots 11-7 in our favor through 20. Second period, 4-0. Let's go. Taylor Hall and then Isaac Lundstrom promoted to that third line center spot. He's getting back into the groove of things. Shots 23-14 through 40 minutes, and we are up 4-0 without the captain. 1 goal, hold on, there's Kucherov making a 3-goal game, but then Leon Draisaitl squishes the rebellion 15 seconds later, now restoring our 4-goal lead, and Chris Letang makes it a 5-goal lead. Sergachev cuts it to 4. That's 4 goals in the first 5 minutes here in this third period. Alex DeBrincat makes it 7-2. Now 5 goals in the first 7 minutes. Power play Penguins here in the second half. Soderblom scores as our power play expires. Then Sergachev makes it 7-4. A ton of goals in this period. We're up by 3 with 2 minutes to go. And thankfully we hang on tight. Oh my goodness, what a third period. Shots end 31-30 for the Lightning. And after 7 goals in that third, we come out on top, thankfully, with the final score being 7-4. A goal and 2 assists for DeBrincat. A goal and assist for Draisaitl. And you know what? 3 assists for Blake Wheeler, making up for what he did wrong back in that 5-minute major that he got. You know what? You're forgiven. For now, you're forgiven. 7 for the final, and we are now on the brink of the Stanley Cup final in game number 6. Is Crosby back? Okay, against a lot of minor injury. Okay. Is Crosby back? Owen Pickering. Okay, thank you. Is Crosby back? Come on. He is not. If we look at the injury report here, we see concussion. Yeah, okay, this is that he's returning. It still counts as a playable injury, so I'm not going to go ahead and risk it. There's a lot of negatives to his game on top of the fact that he could get another injury, and he even has a concussion history, right? So we're going to keep him out of the lineup. We're going to keep rolling with how we've been. We just got a great victory. Let's try and keep that up. I just want to see Jason Zucker do anything. 1 assist, and even plus-minus. Playing 16-25 of ice time. Wow, he played a lot. All right. Blake Wheeler has 6 assists in 5 games. Woohoo, the 39-year-old, he wants that Stanley Cup. All right, and Kessel, is he back in it? 4 points. Okay, I'll take it. Big Phil, thank you very much. But the job is not done yet. Game number 6 here in Tampa at Amalie Arena. 1 win away from back-to-back Stanley Cup finals and keeping that trend up in franchise history. It would be the 4th time, our 8th appearance in franchise history, and the 4th time that it's back-to-back. We are 1 win away. Let's not let it get to 7 like last year. Let's end it here on the road, and let's get ready for Minnesota or for Vegas in the Cup final. Let's end it here, and let's not think about Tampa one more day. End it, gentlemen. End it. First period, 2-2 after 20. Chiarelli opens up the scoring early. Jake Gensel answers 10 seconds later. Point scores a couple minutes after that, and then Russ a couple minutes after that. So 4 goals in the first 7 minutes, nothing after that. We are doubling the Lightning's shots 14-7, tied at 2 through 20. All right, second period, I'm going to let it go. Controller down. Let's let it ride. Power play Lightning killed off. There we go. Sergachev scores even strength, though. 4 minutes into the period about. We're down by 1. Power play Lightning again around the halfway point. We kill that off. Well done. The Lightning now leading the shots. And Nick Paul makes it 4-2. We got to get more shots on net here. We are slipping big time. After doubling 14-7, we're now down 20-19. Final minute here. All right. So that period, we got outshot 13-6. Yeah. So we are down by 2 heading into this third period. We scored twice in the first period. Did not score in the second. I want to see 2 quick goals here in the third and bring it back to 4-4. Let's do it. End it here. And we are through to the Stanley Cup final. Do not think about Game 7. Do not think about anything else. All I want you to think about is going out there in these next 20 minutes and leaving it all on the ice to end this series tonight. Third period action. Here we go. Controller down once again. Third period. We're back in the lead of the shots. Power play. All right. Leon Draisaitl gives it the first. Jake Guentzel answers the call. 2 quick goals in the first 5 minutes, and we're back tied at 4. Listening to GM Data's pep talk in the locker room. Let's go. And Blake Wheeler with his first in the postseason. We're up 5-4. Hagel scores to tie it at 5. But we are back in this game with 5 minutes to go now. We're leading in the shots. Final 3 minutes. The next one could be the winner on either side. Final minute. And we're headed to overtime. Wow. 3 third period goals. Draisaitl on the power play. Guentzel 40 seconds later, and then Blake Wheeler to put us ahead. But Hagel answered a minute later to tie it at 5. Shots are 32-27 in our favor, and we're headed into overtime. Overtime here in Tampa. A goal for the Penguins puts them through to the Stanley Cup final, but a goal for the Lightning pushes this series to 7 back in Pittsburgh. Defensive zone draw. Both the top lines are out. Point wins it back to Chernak. Big path for him, but he gives over to Kucherov, whose shot goes off of a leg. Point kicks it to Chernak, who gets it down low. Kucherov, broken up by Draisaitl. Now here we come. Cavalry's going back the other way. Letang up to Guentzel, trying to squeeze by. No, he gets tossed into the boards. Now here's Killorn back over the blue line into Pittsburgh territory against Zadorov. Poked. Stamkos shot on net. Can't quite get enough on it. And Blackwood will hang on. Sveshnikov down to Paul. Nice stop there from Blackwood. Ryan Suter up to Ty Smith now. He's been a hero before. Ty Smith, he's on his horse. Smith in front to Rust. Oh, just wide blocker side. Letang across to Lundstrom. Over to Kessel. Feel the thrill. There you go. Use that body, big boy. There you go. Over to Morrissey. Kessel scores! Feel the thrill, Kessel! And the Pittsburgh Penguins are through to the Stanley Cup final for the second time in as many years with a Game 6 overtime winner. The Penguins are through, taking down the Lightning in back-to-back years to make it to their 8th Stanley Cup final in franchise history, and for the 4th time in back-to-back years. Letang leading the way with Hedman, with Crosby being out of the lineup. Blake Wheeler, who was on the ice for that winner. Blackwood and Vasilevsky, 2 great goaltenders who went out at it. Letang called to get the Prince of Wales trophy, but he's not going to touch it. Sid told him not to. Shake hands with Big Bill Daly, and that'll be it. The Pittsburgh Penguins are off the Stanley Cup final for the second time in 3 years with GM Data and his team at the helm. Phil gets 3rd star honors. Shots ended 33-31 in our favor, and we win Game 6 by a score of 6-5 to book our ticket to the Stanley Cup final. What a way to end that series, as the deadline acquisition, Phil Kessel, the former Penguin who has been here before, ends it to punch our ticket through. So Draisaitl through 14 games, currently leading the way with 25 points. DeBrincat has 19, Guentzel has 16, Crosby with 12, so 4 point per game plus players through the first 3 rounds. Crosby will be fully healed and ready for the Stanley Cup final, but we did well without him. We did very well without him. Rust has 12 points in 14 games. Very happy to see that. Letang 11. Malkin 10 points, but still -7. Taylor Hall's got 10. He wants his first Stanley Cup. Ekblad's got 9. Lundstrom has 7. He's scoring a point every other game. Wheeler has 1 goal and 7 points in 6 games. Do you believe it? Wow. Morrissey has 7 assists. Kessel 3 goals, 3 assists. Still -5, but we'll take it. Engvall has 6 assists in 14 games. Ryan Suter, after scoring 1 assist in, 21 games with us, now has 5 assists in 14 games in the postseason. He wants his first cup. Ty Smith's got 4. Catton 3 points. That's usually how it goes for rookies. Zadorov's got 2. Jason Zucker with an assist in a couple games. Smith no points in 8. Goaltending, Blackwood through 3 rounds is 12-2 with 2 shutouts, a .919 save percentage, and 2.45 goals against average. So I don't want to look just yet. Is it going to be the Minnesota Wild or the Vegas Golden Knights facing us in the 2026 Stanley Cup Final? In the Cup Final, it will be the Penguins versus, Crosby's healthy, very good, the Minnesota Wild. I just saw it right there as they took down the Vegas Golden Knights in 6 games. Penguins and Wild facing off for the 2026 title. So the Minnesota Wild took down the Canucks in 6, the Avalanche in 7, and the Golden Knights in 6 to make it to what I believe is their first Stanley Cup final in franchise history. I don't think they made it in 2024 or 2025. Well, actually, what am I saying? The Oilers were obviously the Western Conference champions last year, so unless the Wild made the Cup final in 2024, I'd have to check the archives, this would be their first time in franchise history. So Minnesota went 47, 25, and 10 on the year, a very respectable record, 6 less wins than us. Not sure where they sat in the Western Conference, but no matter. Here they are as the champions of the West in the postseason. Let's see their lineup. Of course, they're led by Kirill Kaprizov, 91 overall, 15 points through 19 games for the Wild superstar. Centering that first line is Marco Rossi with 7 goals and 8 assists. And on the right wing is Danila Yurov with 4 goals and 9 assists. Okay, so no crazy numbers from that top line. Second line, Matthew Boldy, 16 points. Sam Steele, 20 points in 19 games. Okay. And Adam Beckman at an 84 overall with 9 goals and 13 points. Okay. Third line is Brett Howden, Joel Eriksson-Ek, and Nicolas Aubé-Kubel at an 83 overall. And fourth line, Colin White, Frédéric Goudreau, and Yakov Trenin. Defensively, they have Jonas Brodin with John Klingberg. All right, Kalen Addison on the second pair with Mario Ferraro. And third pair is Carson Lambos with Captain Jared Spurgeon. So no huge overalls here. Everyone between 80 and 85. Brodin, 12 points, 12 assists from Klingberg. Goal and 3 assists from Addison, 7 points from Spurgeon. Between the pipes, they have, of course, Jesper Wallstedt, the young Jesper Wallstedt, now at an 88 overall, but interesting, 899 save percentage. So he is 11-5-1, 899 save percentage, and 2.93 goals against average. Maybe we can exploit that from the young 23-year-old, who is backed up by Chris Drieger. Scratches, we see Colby Barlow, so there's a forward that would be in their lineup, but he's currently injured. Alex Goligoski at 40 years of age, and Brock Faber. Interesting. All right, so it's not the flashiest lineup. No one's doing anything crazy offensively either, aside from maybe Sam Steele and Matthew Boldy. But it's not the craziest lineup. On paper, you would think the Penguins take this. But again, the Wild are here for a reason. Never underestimate your opponent, especially so deep in the postseason. Now, we do have some connections to the Wild lineup. Crosby will be back, and that may bump out Jason Zucker, but Jason Zucker is a former Minnesota Wild. But of course, the big one that I'm thinking about is Ryan Suter at 41 years of age, back against the team that signed him to that massive contract that they just got. Actually, I think in 2026 they'd still be paying it after that massive buyout. He played he played many years of Minnesota before that buyout came. Never got too far with them, and now is here with the Penguins to try and haunt them and win a Stanley Cup against them as the Minnesota makes it to their first Stanley Cup final in franchise history. How about that for a storyline? So that being said, we now know the enemy. Let's advance another day here. We're ready for game number 1. I'm going to get Crosby back in the lineup, of course, but the question is who comes out? Wheeler's been way too good. I think it has to be Jason Zucker. Although he's done well, he has an assist, he's a +1 in 2 games. I think it's just got to be him. Wheeler's been way too good. Engvall's tearing it up with 6 assists and is a +6 with such limited ice time. Catton, maybe he would be the one, but he has power play time. We need him out there on the power play as such a strong playmaker. Phil Kessel's been doing great, so I think it has to be him. So the lines will go back to as they were. I suppose Lundstrom goes back to the 4th line. I'd love for him to stay on the 3rd, but I think Malkin's got to go back to that 3rd line. But I don't know. That plus-minus has been horrible with Phil Kessel. Wheeler's been good through 6 games, 7 points and a +2. So would it be like disrespectful to put Malkin on the fourth line and have him playing power play? Maybe. So I think we'll go Wheeler, Malkin, Kessel to start it off. And if we need to make changes from there, then Malkin can bump down. But I think we'll start off the series, at least with how the lines have been. All right, and there we go. Made a little tweak to the power play as well. I decided to keep DeBrincat on the first unit, and I transferred Malkin over to the second unit. That way he can play center, and Catton can become the distributor at the point. Then Hall can come down to the left wing. So little changes there to power play units 1 and 2, as well as Crosby in the lineup, Wheeler on the third line, Lundstrom on the fourth, and we'll begin the 2026 Stanley Cup Final with the lines looking like that. Hosting the Minnesota Wild at PPG Paints Arena in the Stanley Cup Final for the second consecutive year and 8th time in franchise history, searching for our 6th Stanley Cup. Let's do it. Game 1, round 4. We've made it. The March of the Penguins goes on, and it all comes down to these next 7 games. This 7-game series, at least. Early power play for the Wild. Let's see what happens here in the first period. Ends 0-0, but the Wild outshooting us 11-5 in that first period. Let's come out a lot stronger in this second. We got not as much rest as we would have liked after round number 3, but we can't allow that to keep us down. Second period now, it's 1-1. Leon Draisaitl opened it up, but then a couple minutes after him, Carson Lambos ties it. Shots are 18-16 for the Wild, and we're tied at 1 headed into the final 20 minutes. Leon Draisaitl getting in on the scoring, but I want to see Big Phil. I want to see Gino. Power play Penguins! New units don't get a goal on that one, on that first opportunity, at least of this slow sim in the third period. I'm not sure if we had one before. Power play once again for the Penguins. Killed off again by the Wild. Final 5 minutes, we're still tied. Next one could be the winner for either side in a low-shooting affair, and we are indeed headed to overtime. More pain for me. Shots 24-23 for the Wild after 60, and Game 1 of the 2026 Stanley Cup Final will be decided in overtime. Overtime here in game number 1 here in Pittsburgh. Next goal, next player to score a goal puts his team up 1-0 in this cup final. Kaprizov skating in tight. Rebound stopped by Blackwood. A third one as well. Covered up. Well done by Mackenzie Blackwood. This matchup, by the way, a rare one here on the channel where we see two teams which we've had control over going up against one another. The Penguins, obviously, right now in NHL 23, but the Wild, the team that we had control of back in NHL 21 for a franchise mode series. That was a blast. Rust, Hall in tight to Letang. Ooh, point blank, one-timer from the top of the slot. Hall again, blocker save, Wallstedt. 2 big saves right there. Great sequence from him. He's got it back. Wheeler stopped by Wallstedt. Kessel now gets the rebound. In front to Wheeler again. That one's just wide. Malkin, this is the veterans line here. Kessel, down to Wheeler. Backhand, blocker save once more. At least Wheeler's getting the puck on net. That's what I want to see. So rare the AI puts it on net. Well done. A little breath of fresh air from Wheeler. And there we go. Nice little slashing penalty there. As we can't just break up the pass, you got to go for the stick lift. And of course, if you miss it, it's a slash. So Kessel, 2 for slashing. And that'll be penalty kill time for us. The Wild are 0 for 1 on the power play tonight with no shots, so they will want to capitalize on this rare opportunity. Now here's Lundstrom. Lundstrom, one-timer! Wow, from Wheeler! Great chance there, but he put it right on Wallstedt. Lundstrom has it again, trying to put that on net, but doesn't quite get through. Woof. Great offensive opportunity here in the midst of a penalty kill. Wild come back the other way. Steal! Nice save from Blackwood, and the rebound was cleared away. Draisaitl pushes. Morrissey picks it up off the draw. Hold on. 4-on-4 action now. What's going on? 2 for slashing. Of course, it's always slashing. As Boldy, let me guess, tried to lift the stick. I didn't even see it. Okay. Boldy's in the box. 2 for slashing. Will be 4-on-4 for 7 seconds, and then it's going to be a power play for the Penguins. All right. Hold on. Here we go. Crosby up to Draisaitl with some space. Shoot, big boy. Crosby with a one-timer. Glove save. Wallstedt in his first game back after missing games 5 and 6 against the Lightning. Crosby is hungry. They break it. Crosby in tight. Oh, pucks in the crease. Power play. Is that going to be another one right there? 2 for slashing again to Jared Spurgeon. Yes, we're going 5-on-3, ladies and gentlemen. 5-on-3 as Jared Spurgeon's getting 2 for slashing. Don't try and lift those sticks in EA land. You will always get called. There you go. Draisaitl, a vicious 2-hand slash. And that puts us on the power play for an extended period now. 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 9 seconds. We have to take advantage of this, gentlemen. Malkin wins the faceoff to Letang. Morrissey Gensel in front, Malkin, little backhand stop, and Ferraro was going to get possession and get it up to Howden, who will clear it, but we cannot let this go to waste. So the point is Catton, now Malkin, but man, I'd rather stay 5-on-5. At least they can't dump it down when it's 5-on-5. This is ugly, man. That 5-on-3 is killed off by the Wild. Huge kill for them, and we're back to 5-on-5 action. Malkin loses it to Addison, but he's still with it in the corner. Come on, Gino. Around the bend to Taylor Hall. Malkin in front, scores! Jake Gensel! Oh, poor Wallstedt having to stretch out as far as he could, but the redirection from Gensel goes, and that's a Game 1 victory for the Penguins. I told you I'd rather see 5-on-5. Ugly stuff on the man advantage. I heart Jake in the crowd. I see it. The Penguins take Game 1 at home to go up 1-0 in the Stanley Cup final. So shots end 36-31. Blackwood makes 30 saves in this winning effort. It was Hall to Malkin, then in tight to Gensel. Just a little tip there as Wallstedt was out of position and sprung to try to get there, but he was not fast enough, and the Penguins are up 1-0 in this series. So we're coming off of back-to-back overtime wins, 6-5 against Lightning to win the Eastern Conference Final, now a 2-1 win in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. Headed into Game 2, we are still undefeated at home. I believe we're 8-0 at home, and of course our record is 13-2 through 15 games. The Wild are 12-8 through 20 games, so we're more rested. But yeah, as you can see in this last game, that doesn't always mean a lot because the Wild were able to shut down our scorers, and goals were not easy to come by on Jesper Wallstedt. It is a new day, and we're ready to host the Wild for game number 2. I would love to have a 2-0 series right here and keep the winning streak alive, make it 9, and head into Minnesota with a 2-0 series lead instead of making it a best of 5. As you can see from rounds 1, 2, and 3, winning the first 2 games at home always has a huge impact on the series down the road. So first period, the Penguins strike early and often as Gensel picks up where he left off. After scoring the OT winner in game number 1, he opens it up a minute and 11 seconds into game number 2. Crosby comes right back 3 minutes later, and Malkin about 12 minutes after that. 3 Penguins veterans, and after 20, we're out shooting Minnesota 10-9 and up 3-0. Gensel, Crosby, and Malkin. Second period. Malkin gets his second. Gensel gets his second 7 seconds after that. And then Brian Rust, another veteran, on Drieger as Wallstedt was pulled after 5 goals on presumably something like 15 shots. Wow. Eriksson Ek then adds one on the power play to stop the bleeding. But we're up by 5 headed into the third and final period. Shots 23-15 in our favor. Malkin's looking for a postseason hat trick out here. And Gensel as well. That would be something from both of those guys, as especially Malkin being third-line center. My brain's all over the place as the Wild have a couple of power plays killed off by the Penguins. Power play for the Penguins now, and it's a power play goal from Josh Morrissey, the second past Chris Drieger. 7-1, the extra point is good. Eriksson Ek scores his second, but it is way too little, way too late, as the Penguins win Game 2 by a score of 7-2. Shots end 32-29, pretty close, but just way too much in that first period. Wallstedt got chased. Malkin 2 goals, Gensel 2 goals, and Morrissey a goal and an assist. As I was saying before this game got started, those 2 games at home are huge. We are now 9-0 at home this postseason, and we will head to Xcel Energy Center with a 2-0 series lead. Wild need to win 4 of the next 5 games to defeat us. We just need 2 more wins, my friends. 2 more wins. No reason to touch anything. Let's keep on rolling as we have been. That was a huge statement victory in perhaps the last game in Pittsburgh this year. Game 3 versus Minnesota at the Xcel Energy Center. The first Stanley Cup final game in franchise history being hosted in the state of hockey. Let's see it. First period. DeBrincat on the power play, and then even strength just 14 seconds later. Then Taylor Hall and Nikita Zadorov as Wallstedt is chased for the second consecutive game, letting in 3 goals on probably something like 7 or 8 shots. Zadorov gets one on Drieger as well, and we have 4 on 11. Shots are 11-8 for Pittsburgh through 20, and we're up 4-0. Second period now, 4-1. Kalen Addison gets one for the Wild. They're now within 3. That's definitely doable here in this third period. Shots 22-18 in our favor. I'd love to get another 4-goal lead restored. Power play Wild, killed off by the Penguins. Power play Pittsburgh, we've been lethal. Killed off by the Wild, very good. Drieger looking more solid in relief right now than he did last game, but Crosby does beat him once more now. Power play Penguins late, that's killed off by the Wild, and we're up by 4 with just a couple minutes to go. That'll be all she wrote. Penguins win 5-1, shots and 34-27, and we come away with a huge Game 3 victory. Crosby a goal and 2 assists, DeBrincat 2 goals, Blackwood 26 saves, and we are just 1 win away from Lord Stanley. Wow. Again, don't want to count those chickens too early, but I am so excited. What a journey it's been for so many of these guys. Let's take a second and just look at this. No matter whether we win or lose this next game, we are just 1 win away from the 2026 Stanley Cup. We were brought in not only to squeeze as much as we could out of this core, but also set ourselves up for the future with Gensel, with DeBrincat, with Catton, with other prospects in the system. I think we can say that the future is bright. At the same time, getting 1 more cup for Crosby, he's 38. 1 more cup for Malkin at 39. Bringing in Kessel at 38 to get another cup, his 4th it would be. Bringing in Blake Wheeler to get his first cup at 39. Taylor Hall, his first cup at 34. On defense, signing Aaron Ekblad in free agency, his first cup at 30. Ryan Suter is 1 win away at 41 years of age to getting his first Stanley Cup. And of course, the man that has tied it all together, Mackenzie Blackwood. Picking him up in trade from the Devils, one of the deals that I am most proud of over the last few series, I would say. That trade has really worked out for us, and we are just 1 win away, ladies and gentlemen. Get on the edge of your seat, cross your fingers, cross your toes. It's Game 4 in Minnesota, the XL Energy Center. After losing 5-1, the Wild do not want to get swept out of the Stanley Cup final, and they'll do everything they can. But the Penguins are so close they can taste it. The President's Trophy winners are just 60 minutes away. First period, 3-2 Wild. Huge first period there, 5 goals being scored. Beckman opens it up in the power play. Then Rust and Letang score twice to put us up by 1. Aubé-Kubel ties it soon after Letang's goal, and Yurov makes it a 3-2 Wild lead. Shots are 12-10 in our favor, but we're down by 1 after 20. Controller down, let's let it ride for the last couple periods here. Down by 1, leading in the shots. Wallstedt letting in a couple early goals there, but he seems to have found himself. Brock Faber's in the lineup, and he scores his first of the series. Powerplay Penguins is killed off. 4-2 Wild. 4 goals on what? 14 or 15 shots? Powerplay Minnesota once again killed off by the Penguins. Headed into the third period, we are outshooting Minnesota 23-17, but down by 2. Definitely not insurmountable, but we cannot allow them to keep adding on. We got to get back into this game and fast. Let's see a couple of quick ones. Let's go. We know how to beat Wallstedt. Let's do it again. Faber gets his second. 5-2 Wild. We're down by 3. Shots are getting even here, and we're not getting anything past Wallstedt, who has definitely battened down the hatches after allowing a couple of goals early. 5-on-3, 5-on-4, huge kills by the Wild. No, if we're not going to score there, then that's it. That's it. The Wild get their first Stanley Cup final victory in franchise history. They do it at home. They win 5-2. Kudos to them. They got it. You know, you got to give it to them. Wallstedt made 26 saves. Kudos to him. Goligoski at 40 years of age, the former Penguin, gets third star honors out there. All right. Put that out of the way. Get that out of our heads. Let's now head back home to Pittsburgh to win our first Stanley Cup since 2017. 9 years later. Let's do it in front of the fans. One last time for Sid. One last time for Gino. One last time for Phil the Thrill. One last time for Chris Letang. Let's do it. And the first time for so many others that we already mentioned. At PPG Paints Arena, June 8th, 2026. A day in history. First period, 2-1 Penguins. Gensel opens it up on the power play, and again, Letang answers a minute later. 2 quick ones on Wallstedt, and Yurov scores late, just like he did last game as well, to make it a 2-1 game. Shots are 13-6 in our favor. We're doubling the shots, but we're up by 1. Controller down. Addison scores 56 seconds in. Controller is down. DeBrincat on the power play restores our lead. It's 3-2 Penguins. And Blake Wheeler, there he is, the 39-year-old. He wants Lord Stanley. 4-2 Penguins. Power play here late in the second. Killed off, but Taylor Hall, even strength. We're up by 3, still more than doubling the Wild shots. 32-12 at the moment, close to tripling. Whoo! Up by 3 and 20 minutes away, ladies and gentlemen. 3 goals in that second period. DeBrincat, Wheeler, and Hall. So close that we can taste it. GM Data's down there in the locker room. Gentlemen, play smart, play strong, but most importantly, play for one another out there. Third period, go get 'em! Third period action here in Pittsburgh. Up by 3 and 15 minutes away now from Lord Stanley. Colin White makes it a 2-goal game. Power play, Pittsburgh killed off. Power play, Wild. Not killed off, we took a penalty. Extended, opportunity killed off. Final 5 minutes now. Let's slow it down a little. We're into the final 3.5 minutes. Up by 2, the worst lead in hockey. Final minute and a half. Final minute, down to the final 30 seconds. Not over yet. Let's hop in. Lockdown defense, coach adjustment. Yes, I will accept. 32 seconds away. Up by 2 at home. Let's hang on tight. Howden's going to dump that in. That's going to be a board pin behind the net now. It's Catton fishing it out and getting up to Pierre Engvall. The fourth line's out for the final 20 seconds. Engvall killing some time here. Well done. Over to Catton. Can't get through traffic. Howden coming back the other way. Danila Yurov poked by Morrissey. Howden over the blue line. Lundstrom regains possession. Final seconds. Lundstrom in the final moments. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2026 Stanley Cup champions are the Pittsburgh Penguins for the 6th time in franchise history, in the first time in the GM Data era, and for the first time in just the 3 years that we've taken control of the Penguins, we are Stanley Cup champions. Year 1 losing in the first round, year 2 Stanley Cup final, but year number 3 we make it back and we win Lord Stanley, the President's Trophy. Conn Smythe goes to Leon Draisaitl. I would have thought between Draisaitl and Blackwood. We'll talk more about this afterwards to see who we want to vote as the winner. But Draisaitl comes over from Edmonton and now wins back-to-back Stanley Cups as he wins this one with the Penguins. Let me throw it over to Gary. Well, hello, Pittsburgh! Sidney Crosby, I called you to raise Lord Stanley when you were just 21 years old. Now you're 38, and I call you once more. It is your honor to raise this trophy. Crosby skates over, shakes hands with Gary, and Sidney Crosby raises the Stanley Cup in 2026. The captain at 38 years of age, cementing a legacy. Sidney Crosby. Sid the Kid, of course, next. Oh, it's got to be Ryan Suter. I was thinking Gino, but it's got to be at 41 years of age. Ryan Suter. Oh, goodness. Raising the Stanley Cup. Finally, after all these years, he comes to Pittsburgh at the deadline, a la Raymond Bourque, and he finally gets his first cup after all these years. Nashville, Minnesota. Next up, it's got to be Phil. No, sorry, it's got to be Gino. My apologies. It's got to be Gino next. I thought Crosby, then Gino, but with Suter being there, it had to be him. Gino Malkin, 39, and raises another cup. 08, 16, 17, and now 26, his 4th Stanley Cup with Crosby. Crosby, Letang, Malkin, all winning their 4th Stanley Cup. Kessel as well. We're going to throw it over to Big Phil. It's got to be him next. Phil the Thrill Kessel. His 3rd Stanley Cup with the Penguins, and his 4th, including the cup that he won with Vegas. 4-time Stanley Cup champion, Phil Kessel, goes for a spin with Lord Stanley. I would have liked Letang to get in there as well. I'm not sure if we have one more. No, that was the last one. I would have liked Letang to get in there, but I want Phil to have a chance. All right, everybody, just get your cameras out, get your screenshots ready, gather around your 2026 Stanley Cup champions, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Beautiful bunch. Snap a picture. It'll last a lifetime. So many other names I'd love to mention. Taylor Hall gets his cup. DeBrincat gets his cup after coming to Pittsburgh. Stanley Cup champions, Pittsburgh Penguins. Aaron Ekblad gets his cup. Blackwood, one of the best goalies in the league, gets the respect he deserves with his name now engraved on Lord Stanley's cup. Oh, Pittsburgh Penguins. Crosby captain, Blackwood, Blomqvist, Catton, DeBrincat, Draisaitl, Ekblad, Engvall, Gensel, Hayek, Hall, Kessel, Letang, Lundstrom, Malkin, Morrissey, Rust, Smith, the two Smiths, Suter, Wheeler, Zadorov, and Zucker. What a bunch. Shots end 42-28 in Game 5 as we win 5-3 the final. What a feeling. Let's break it all down. Of course, I'm repeating myself. I'm saying a lot of things that have already been said, but I just want to say it one more time now that it's official. Leon Draisaitl, two-time Stanley Cup champion, wins with Edmonton, comes to Pittsburgh to say, I want to do it again over here, and he does just that, scoring 29 points in 19 games. Alex DeBrincat, don't forget about him, 26 points in 19 games. We acquired his rights. He signed on long-term. He wanted to do something special here after leaving Ottawa, and in just his second season with the Penguins, wins the Stanley Cup. Jake Gensel, 21 points in 19 games, led the team with 12 goals as well. He gets his second Stanley Cup as he won back in 2017, yes. So a second Stanley Cup for Jake Gensel. Sidney Crosby gets his fourth, 19 points in 17 games. Taylor Hall, who we acquired at the draft, signed to a one-year deal, told him, let's get this cup, and that's what we did. 18 points in 19 games from the 34-year-old. The former first overall pick in 2010 wins his Stanley Cup in 2026. A long time coming. Chris Letang wins his fourth cup at 39 years of age. 16 points in 19 games. Brian Rust gets another cup at 34 years of age. He didn't want to waive his no-trade clause. He stuck around, and he was a big part of this team, so hats off to him. Geno Malkin, 39, wins his fourth cup. 15 points in 19 games. The second overall pick back in 2004 gets another cup. Aaron Ekblad, another high draft pick, first overall in 2014. He gets his cup, signing here in free agency, a 5-year deal. In year number 1, he is a Stanley Cup champion. Josh Morrissey, who we acquired from the Winnipeg Jets, played half a season with us, and then this was his first full year, and he gets the cup as well. 64-point season from the 31-year-old defenseman. Blake Wheeler, 10 points in 11 games. I'm glad we tossed him into the lineup. We acquired him at the deadline in 2025. Barely played him in this season in 2025-26. Called upon him in the postseason. He delivered, and he gets his hands on his first ever Stanley Cup. Another instance of a long time coming. The 5th overall pick in 2004. Buddy's back with Geno in that 2004 draft. Phil Kessel, 38 years of age. You gotta respect it. 4-time Stanley Cup champion Phil Kessel. What an icon. This man is incredible. Isaac Lundstrom, who we claim off waivers last year, ends up being a big piece of our bottom 6, scores 7 points in 19 games. By the way, 8 points in 19 games for Phil the Thrill. Nikita Zadorov, 6 points and a plus 15. Kudos to him. Well done. Well done. We signed him in free agency in 2024. This was his second season with us. We were thinking about moving him. He wasn't great last year in the playoffs, but this year he delivered. Pierre Engvall, depth guy. We got him for his size, and he gets a Stanley Cup. We signed him to a 2-year deal, and he gets a cup in this second year. 6 assists and a plus 3 in 19 games. Ty Smith, acquired in the John Marino trade with the Devils back in the Ron Hextall era. He scores 5 points and is a plus 11 and gets his Stanley Cup on that third pair. Ryan Suter, acquired at the deadline from Seattle with Phil Kessel, scores 5 assists and is at plus 9 in 19 games and wins his long-awaited Stanley Cup at 41 years of age. The 7th overall pick back in 2003 finally gets his cup 23 years later. What a crazy stat to think of. Wow. Berkeley Catton, the Stanley Cup champion in his rookie season. Didn't do a ton, but we have big plans for him in the future. Jason Zucker gets his name on the cup finally. He played 2 games in the postseason. He's been a big piece of our franchise ever since we took over. He's been in Pittsburgh for a long time, so a well-deserved Stanley Cup for him, and that is the first of his career as well, doing it against his old team. Nate Smith gets a Stanley Cup. He didn't do much after we took him out of the lineup, but he's been a big piece of our fourth line for the last couple of years as well. Former draft pick of the Coyotes, found him in free agency, and he did very well with us. Goaltending, Mackenzie Blackwood. Such a well-deserved Stanley Cup for Mackenzie Blackwood. As we got him from the Devils, we got him on a deal paying him $3.9 million. He is the reigning Vezina Trophy winner, the Jennings Trophy winner, and now playing in his 3rd season with the Penguins, he is a Stanley Cup champion. He has been lights out in the postseason, especially this year, going 16-3-0 with 2 shutouts, .918 save percentage, and 2.46 goals against average. Backed up by Blomqvist, who isn't listed here, but in his sophomore season, Blomqvist also a Stanley Cup champion. As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, whether or not to include the healthy scratches, the average age of this 2026 Penguins squad was about 34 and a half years old. Now, I didn't do a ton of research, but a quick Google search tells me that I believe the oldest team to ever win the Cup before this squad was the 2002 Red Wings, who had an average age of 30 and a half. So if that is true, it's from a Reddit post I found from 6 years ago. If that is true and nothing has changed, we have absolutely shattered that record by 4 years. A really crazy underlying storyline to this Cup run. So a lot of changes to come to this team, especially if we're to see some retirements. A lot of players like Taylor Hall, I don't think we're going to be re-signing. Phil Kessel not re-signing. Could Malkin retire? Could Crosby, Letang, could they retire? If they do, we could see a very different Penguins team next season. But all we got to know right now is that we are 2026 Stanley Cup champions, taking down the Islanders in 4, Rangers in 4, Lightning in 6, and Wild in 5. What a journey it was. The march of the Penguins concludes at Lord Stanley, winning it at home in front of the fans at PPG Paints Arena. Let's see what happens down here in the AHL, as we're also in the Calder Cup final versus the, is that Seattle's farm team? Coachella Valley? And it's going to Game 7, as we lose Game 6 by a score of 6-3. Game 7 in the AHL, it's Calder Cup final, and we win! Hey, we pulled a double! Stanley Cup and Calder Cup champions, both named the Penguins. Wow, a 4-3 win in Game 7. Braden Yeager went point per game, 26 and 26. Woohoo! Wow, can't wait to have him in the lineup next season as well, I would think. Let's check out the awards now before we do everything else, retirement, and head to the draft. Pittsburgh Penguins Stanley Cup champions. And no, the Wild did not make the Cup final in 2024. It was the Predators, so that was their first appearance. President's Trophy going to the Penguins. So back-to-back years where the President's Trophy winner won the Stanley Cup, the Oilers and the Penguins, 2025 and 2026. How about that? As we make it to the Stanley Cup final in back-to-back years. Individual awards now. The Art Ross went to Matthew Tkachuk. The Hart to Cole Caulfield. Wow. The James Norris to Adam Fox. The Lady Byng to Braden Point. The Calder to Sean Avery over on the Anaheim Ducks. The Conn Smythe to Leon Draisaitl. Should it have gone to Mackenzie Blackwood? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. We'll talk about that more at the end of the video. The Vezina goes to Kochetkov. Yeah, that's well-deserved. The Jennings going to Logan Thompson on the Canadiens. Masterton to Alexandre Carrier on the Winnipeg Jets. The coach of the Canucks winning the Jack Adams. The Frank J. Selke going to Elias Lindholm. Ted Lindsay going to Cole Caulfield. And the Maurice Richard going to Nathan McKinnon. Down in the AHL, Braden Yeager wins the equivalent of the Calder. Very nice. And also the equivalent of the Conn Smythe. Is that it? Yeah, very good. Very nice. So I believe now would be the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who retires and who will be calling it a career in 2026. Guaranteed, at least like Ryan Suter. So guaranteed we have at least one, I would say even 2 players who are going to be going out on top as Stanley Cup champions. It would be a great time to do it. I wouldn't blame anyone who decided to call it a career right now. Ottawa wins the draft lottery, jumping from 2-1. Dallas from 3-2. Detroit drops from 1-3. Now let's see these retirements. I'm very excited to see who it's going to be. Retiring in 2026, we see Phil Kessel. Chris Letang! No! Letang calling it a career. Wow, but Crosby and Malkin are back for more. Even Ryan Suter didn't retire unless his numbers aren't that high. But Phil Kessel goes out on top. His 4th Stanley Cup was enough, and he's happy and content to move on with that 4th cup. Brent Burns retires, Stastny Perron, but Chris Letang, that's a surprising one. Part of me was thinking, should I save this franchise mode file and resave it if like Crosby and Letang and Malkin all retire? But you know what? I'm just going to let the universe do what it does. Chris Letang has had health issues in the past. At 39 years of age, coming off another Stanley Cup, I don't think it's outlandish to say that Chris Letang would retire, even though he had 2 more years on his contract. I wouldn't think it's crazy. Of course, in the real world, maybe he gets LTIR'd or something, but in this universe, no, I don't think it's crazy. Anyone else retiring here? I don't know how high Ryan Suter's numbers would have been, but no, Ryan Suter's back for more. Headed into his year 42 of his life, he is still on board. Chris Letang, these numbers here don't include the real world 2022-23 season, which I would include. So to these numbers, I would add his 2022-23 totals, because in this universe, in the EA Land universe, we held him out of the lineup so the team would pretty much tank for that season. So in reality, Chris Letang would have retired having played 1,247 games, scoring 188 goals and 656 assists for a total of 844 points. He won the 2023 Bill Masterton Trophy, and although he received Norris votes almost every season of his career, he did not win any Norris trophies. Unfortunate, but hey, I think he'll sleep all right at night with the 4 Stanley Cup rings on his hand. In terms of franchise records, Chris Letang retires with the most games played, goals scored, assists registered, and points scored as a defenseman in Penguins franchise history. Also, shout out to Phil Kessel, who retired with 474 goals and 695 assists for 1,169 points in his career. Plus, again, 4 Stanley Cup rings. Goaltending, anyone retiring here? Yaroslav Halak at 41 years of age. Brian Elliott, 41 years of age. Reimer, Bishop as a free agent, obviously. Jonathan Bernier, Keith Kincaid, and Leland Irving. So a huge retirement class. Hats off to Chris Letang for what a career he had. All kinds of franchise records for a defenseman. Ooh, Kessel's now a coach. We got to get him on board. Too bad Letang is not. But Kessel's now a coach. I'd love to get him. So Chris Letang, it was an honor, my friend. We will continue in this franchise mode without you. We will miss you. You will be dearly, dearly missed. Really too bad that he's not a coach or anything, but hopefully we'll try and get Phil Kessel into this organization. It does free up some money, but that's a big hole on defense. Morrissey and Ekblad can now be that first pair, but now on that second pair, if Zadorov stays on the left, who now goes on the right? So keep that in mind, headed into 2026-27. Next episode, the off season, we will have $18.865 million to play with. Taylor Hall, does he come back? I don't know. Evgeny Malkin, I think he has to. But Zucker, Engvall, Wheeler, so many of the other guys are likely going to be walking. And that will give us lots of money to play with, but also some lineup positions to fill. So moving into, let's start getting some suggestions mode for down here on YouTube or over on the Discord server. If I did have to say, all right, let's think about the forwards. First line, Draisaitl, DeBrincat, Gensel. Second line, Crosby, I don't know about Hall. So Crosby, Rust, and maybe Berkeley Catton. Your third line, could it be Lundstrom, Malkin, and somebody else? That's a hole on the third line or maybe on the second line. And then the fourth line, Engvall, Smith. Smith would stay. But what happens to the left and right wing on the fourth line? Looking at defense, we have Morrissey, Ekblad, top pair. Could Zadorov and some mix of Mitchell and Smith be the second pair? Not really. So I'd say we're definitely in the market for 1, if not 2, top 4 defensemen in free agency. Goaltending's a tough one because even though we have Blackwood and Blomqvist signed on for next season and even the season after that, they're both 84 overall. Blomqvist wants to be getting more starts. Blackwood absolutely has to be our starter next season. He won the Vezina, he won the Jennings, he has a Stanley Cup now, back-to-back incredible postseason runs. Blomqvist has been very good, but he's an 84 overall, making $1.2 million for the next couple of years. Maybe we keep him for one more season, and instead of playing 28 games, he gets into the 30s or 40s, but that means less from Blackwood, and he's been incredible. Maybe you keep him on in case Blackwood gets hit by the EA voodoo and doesn't play as well as he has been playing, potentially. But I do think we have to keep in mind the possibility that we won't have Blackwood and Blomqvist because one might be too good for the other come the beginning of 2026-27. So could we be in the market for a new backup goalie? I would say it is possible. I'm not jumping the gun on it just yet, but it would probably depend more on offseason growth than anything. Also, keep in mind the youth in our system. Jaeger, he's definitely going to want to come up. DiMaio is going to want to come up, our first-round pick from 2025, 9th overall. So DiMaio's definitely be wanting to make the NHL. Maybe Owen Pickering makes the NHL. I think Jaeger will likely grow enough to make the NHL. And that's not even talking about these other depth guys like Neighbors and Stranges. So I would think at the very least we have 3 guys, Jaeger, Pickering, and DiMaio, who are saying, I want to be in the NHL next season. So could that fill the holes that we may have in our lineup? Yes, but we'll have enough money to look elsewhere as well if those rookies aren't the first option or even the best option. So there are the contract thoughts headed into this next off season. If you're curious about player growth or regression, of course, Malkin, Crosby going to regress. Catton's up to an 83 overall at the moment. Draisaitl 96, Morrissey 91, great growth from these guys. Ekblad up to an 89, but the ones we always want to see are the ones in the system. Callan Lynn, good growth up to a 75 overall, very well done. Pristola is up to a 63, Petrell's at a 69. Who else is in our system with good potential? Medium elite Yaskin up to a 61. All right, good to keep note of all of these guys. Ryan Suter's going to have to go, unfortunately, but very good. Goaltenders, are they still the same? Yeah, Lindbergh and Gauthier both still 75. Lindbergh, was he our starter in the postseason? I believe he was. Yeah, good. Not the craziest numbers, but enough to get the Calder Cup. And finally, we'll be thinking about the 2026 draft. I don't think we have any high selections here, as we don't have a first-round pick. Our first selection comes with the 16th overall pick in round number 2 from St. Louis. That's me somewhere in the late 40s, early 50s. After that, we don't pick until the end of round number 3, end of round number 4, end of round number 6. So we don't have a ton of picks out here. With those picks, there are definitely some gems and some good potential players to go out and get. I ended up not scouting too much of the top guys. I knew we wouldn't have like a top 5 pick or something. But if we sort by potential, we see a ton of guys in the hundreds here. Medium elite, all in the mid 100s, early 100s. Even into the 200s, we'll see some 2-bar low elite kind of guys. Some medium top 6s who are in the 200s, or even mostly in the early to mid 100s actually. So I would like to get some selections in there. I'm not going to ask for a ton of suggestions on who to take, because I think it's obvious that we definitely want all the medium elites that we can get from like 92 onward. I would say we'd likely pass on these 2 goaltenders. They're both 5 years away. Yeah, so may as well just take this guy. If we're going to take a medium elite goalie, may as well take Tyler Baker, who's also 5 years away and also medium elite, but we can get him at 130 instead of at 50, right? Aside from those guys, Rensfeldt, Wakabayashi, Backstrom, all guys that we'll want to be targeting. But do we have really the value to trade up, even if we use some rights of players? I don't know. We'll definitely do our best to draft well, try and get Phil Kessel onto our coaching staff, re-sign a few of our key players, look for some top 4D in free agency, leave any and all of your suggestions on all of those things down here on YouTube, because there's going to be a lot to talk about after this Stanley Cup run where, yes, we had some retirements, but not everyone did. Crosby and Malkin are still here and still regressing. We can let go of Suter and Wheeler and Hall if we want to, if that's our purview. But Crosby and Gino, they got to stay here. So looking at potential pending UFAs into this next free agent class, a lot of names out there. I think we definitely want to be looking at defensemen, though, as I mentioned. Some of the defensemen who may be out there, and more on the, I don't want to say young side, but I'm not necessarily looking at mid to late 30 guys. So Trouba, Severson, Matheson, Ferraro, maybe those are options, or we could just look into some sort of trade. If it is a trade, we don't have a ton of value though, so that's why I prefer free agency, as we have the money, but not a ton of crazy names out there. Let me know who's striking you, if anyone. And for the forwards, we see Frost, Barbashev, Schmaltz, Marchand. Someone that I'd want to go after, maybe an Eli Tolvanen, maybe a Sam Steele from Minnesota. I could see that. Adrian Kempe. Yeah, some young, some 27-year-olds out here. Tippett, Ruzicka. Okay, good to note. And that will just about do it, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, 2026 Stanley Cup champions. Our mandate was to win a Stanley Cup with this group, and we just made it in before Letang retired. Now we're going to be moving into a bit of a transition period where we still have Gensel, Draisaitl, DeBrincat, Morrissey, but Crosby, Malkin, aging. Couple of retirements have left some holes in the lineup. How are we going to patch those holes? Will it be with the rookies in our system? Will it be with free agency? Will it be trades? Leave all those thoughts down here on YouTube or over on the Discord server, link in the description. I've said a ton. This is definitely a long enough episode, so I'll leave you there. But if you haven't already, please do leave a like for this whopper of an episode, the March of the Penguins. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already to be made aware of all of our uploads here on the channel, franchise mode, career simulations, NHL 24 content coming soon, and much more. Part 1 of our 2-part mandate is complete. Get a Stanley Cup with this core, check. Now, as we move into the next few years before NHL 24 comes out, we have a few more seasons left. We want to try to not only repeat with this squad, but make sure they are fully set up for the future. As you can see from the build of this team, we cannot do it without the assistant general managers, and it'll be that much stronger of a team with you as a part of it. So ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your day with the Cup. Let me know what you're going to do with the Stanley Cup in your hometown, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one, where we will tackle the 2026 offseason and start the road to the repeat.